Where do you start in terms of Congress with this? Where do you go? We just heard Reverend Al talk about mass mobilization, but where do you go in Congress? What kind of influence? Who has the influence?
I think it's too early to tell, but we hope that we're going to be able to assemble the kind of coalition we had in 2005 when we extended the Voting Rights Act, which was strong bipartisan majorities in both the House and the Senate. I think what we've got to do is determine what is the best and new coverage formula that would work. That's going to take a little bit of effort. That's going to take some collaboration. We certainly expect and will be encouraged by leadership from the President, from the Attorney General. But I also think this is another opportunity for both sides of the Congress to demonstrate that this is not going to get caught up in partisan wrangling or obfuscation and obstruction. Certainly we're concerned about that. But I do think, because this is a democracy issue, this goes to voting, we will be watching very carefully to see how states react to this, whether there's going to be a rush now to introduce voter suppression legislation anew, given the Supreme Court's decision. So that's why it's so critical that Congress move quickly and carefully. There's going to have to be hearings. There will have to be a record. But we want to see Congress do something as quickly as possible, do something as intelligently as possible, and draft a new coverage formula which is consistent with these times. But this is what's important. This pendulum has swung from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and into the 21st century. And we witnessed in the last election cycle numerous states, an orchestrated effort, 40 states, in fact, where legislation was introduced to suppress the votes, which had the intent, I think, of trying to suppress the vote of poor people of color and people of color across the nation. There was a reaction to that. The Justice Department intervened. There were civil lawsuits filed across the country. There was a mobilization effort which pushed that back and defeated it to a great extent. One tool that was essential to that was Section 5 and the Section 4 coverage formula that the Supreme Court invalidated today. So the tool of the voting rights, I'm a son of the South. I am a son of the South. The South has changed. It's changed because of the Civil Rights Act, because of the Voting Rights Act, because of the interventions that those acts have allowed. My own state, Louisiana, did not draft a constitutionally permissible legislative reapportionment plan at any time since the 1960s until 2010. They were batting 0 for 4 until 2010, and finally they did one that did not get invalidated by the Justice Department. So the record is going to show numerous instances where Section 5 and the Section 4 formula, in fact, protected democracy in this nation.